Welcome to another episode of On Subrogation. I'm Rebecca Wright, coming to you live from the 2023 National Association of Subrogation Professionals Annual Conference, and I'm here with Daran Kiefer from Kreiner and Peters. Thank you for joining us, Daran.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So today we are going to talk about a topic that you're actually presenting on here at the conference, and that is about the use of videos in auto cases, right?
Yes, and I think, what we're seeing is now with the new cars, the new technology, people can get it pretty easily and cheap for their vehicles, so they're getting it, and then you can use that video in your case to prove what happened, and sometimes it's not always what you think it's going to be.
Absolutely, and I feel like we're seeing so many more of these videos just because a lot of this is standard now in cars.
And you got to look at the younger generation. They're used to TikTok videos. They're used to, everything they do, they post it everywhere. There's nothing that isn't on camera for them. So for them, it's second nature. It's more people in my generation or the older generations that are like getting used to this. But there are so many videos out there, whether it be in the car, somebody's cell phone, you name it, you can find it if you look hard enough.
Well, and you have a great example of one from a case that you handled where what the police report said and then what the video actually showed were two totally different stories.
Yeah, and it's kind of a crazy case. It's a vehicle that's disabled on the side of the interstate highway. Gentleman says his mom's vehicle broke down, so he pulls off to the side, and he says to the police that he put the vehicle completely off to the burn and that he left it, and so he's starting to walk to the exit, at which point in 5 a.m., darkness in the winter, semi-tractor trailers coming along, and you can see in his video, you're watching him drive, and all of a sudden as he's coming down the road, there is that disabled vehicle, only it's not on the median. A quarter of the vehicle is actually in his lane, at which he proceeds to cream that vehicle, and what then happens to my poor insured is that vehicle spins around behind the semi into the fast lane of the interstate and is there in the dark when my insured going to work in the fast lane comes upon a car sitting sideways in her roadway at 65 miles an hour, and she just runs right into it.
And the video is crazy because it's the dash cam from the semi, right?
It is, yes.
And so you actually get to see not only the view out of the semi, but also the driver as he's driving along. There are two different angles.
Yeah, what you'll find in most of the trucking cases is that is the video they have. So you not only get the video of what the driver does, but you can see the driver themselves and their reactions, which sometimes are just extremely comical. You get some of them, you even get the words they use, which is even better when things like that happen. So it's a great resource. And those types of videos, we're so used to in our industry worried about how much is it going to cost? How much am I going to spend to get this? This costs you nothing. This is the defense that you're going after or somebody else involved in the accident giving you the evidence you need to prove your case.
Yeah.
Or maybe not prove your case.
Sure. Well, or at least, let you know that it's one that you need to let go of early on before you do spend more assets on it.
And like in that example video that we had, you had that semi-tractor trailer driver being cited by the cop, pleading guilty to hitting this disabled vehicle on the median, and that completely is blown up by the video. And actually in settling the case, it was the vehicle on the median that paid more of the settlement dollars than the actual semi-driver. But had we not obtained that video timely, we would have never been able to sue due to statute of limitations issue. So if we had waited and just said, well, the police report says this, the guy pled guilty, there's nobody else to look at, we could have blown a statute, or you could have really gotten your claim gone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, imagine if you, in a traditional sense, you would have looked at that police report, you would have pursued only the semi-driver, you get to court, then he brings in the video, and now 2-3 years later, you're like, oh, there's a whole other tortfeasor. You're absolutely right. Stat's gone at that point.
Yeah, that was the concern. We filed early enough and asked them for the dash cam video, and once we got it, we had to petition the court to get leave to add that party, but nobody. The semi-tractor trailer adjuster was not looking at the other car either. I don't know why they didn't look at that video for themselves and say, hey, wait a minute, you need to go after somebody else. But once we got it, I'm like, we need to bring this gentleman and his mom in because this is a problem.
Yeah, clear as day.
Yes, can't miss it.
Clear as the video anyway.
Yes.
Well, I think it's a great reminder that with all of this new tech that's out there, we have more evidence that we can use. And you're right, it does disprove those police reports sometimes. And it can open up additional tortfeasors.
Well, that's our message here at NASP for the presentation is that don't go into something prejudging it just on what the police are telling you or what maybe your insured's telling you. There's so many other resources now. Get it, because you never know what you're going to find. And yes, it may hurt your case. You may end up with a case where the video makes your insured actually at fault, which you don't want to do in some respects, but at least you know.
Exactly.
And you get to the bottom of it, but it opens a whole opportunity corridor of different people to go after, different policies, especially if you have, a limit PD of like we have in Ohio of 25 grand. And now with these cars, if it's a Tesla, it's an $80,000 car, you're looking for everybody because this person's only got 25 in coverage.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. It's excellent advice. Daran, thank you so much for joining us today on Subrogation.
Thanks for having me.
And I hope you will join us again next time. But for now, that's the long and short of it.